No, I just like the words stick in my throat every time I come on here to record. Like, I honestly don't know what to say, but like, it's just like, as we're seeing this latest just unspeakable atrocity take place, the lies coming out to support this. Oh, they trampled themselves. We merely fired warning shots, and then the crowd of starving people that were starving to death menaced us, and we had to shoot them. These lies are being propagated as the lies used to justify this are falling apart more or less as they're spoken. And I'm speaking about I don't know if you guys saw the incredible piece of reporting done by The Intercept this week, based on a lot of work went into this, but it's Ryan Graham, Jeremy Scahill, and Daniel Boguslaw, three guys we've all had on the show, who essentially completely demonstrate that, like, the New York Times and their Screams Without Words series about how, quote, Hamas weaponized mass rape as a tool of war was basically a Screams Without Sources. This article is insane. Did you guys get a chance to read this by any chance?
No, unfortunately, I didn't. But
I mean, I'll give you give you like the executive summary here. Basically, the most stunning part of it to me was that this absolute dingbat named Anat Schwartz, who that they gave this, like, probably one of the most consequential pieces of wartime reporting that they could possibly do right now. They gave it to this fucking dingbat and her nephew, who had never done any piece of journalism before, and were essentially tasked by the New York Times with coming up with sources that can verify these lurid accounts of mass rape atrocity. Anat Schwartz went on a podcast in Israel in Hebrew that was translated for this, where basically the entire podcast episode was her being given a friendly interview where she says over and over again that every time she tried to get a source to confirm any of these stories, she was told that there was nothing to confirm, that she has nothing, no sources whatsoever. The New York Times are aware of this and asked her, like, hey, can you confirm any of this? She said no, basically. And they said, we stand by her reporting. I'm sorry, like, this makes the New York Times as active a party to this genocide as the Israeli military, as far as I'm concerned. It was stunning.
It's very disconcerting to see. It's not new, right? The New York Times being like a cheerleader for this sort of thing is absolutely not new and has never been new. But it is especially disconcerting today, where you can point to not one, but like a series of these acts that Israel has done where they've dug in. Like, for example, do you remember the first time they shelled that hospital in North Gaza, right? And they claimed that it was a Hamas rocket gone that had failed or whatever because, they only buy the Alibaba ones. And, they got a rocket from Temu and it killed the hospital. So what happened to the other 24 hospitals that they had in the rest of Gaza that got, shelled to smithereens, literal smithereens? Were they all Temu rockets that happened to hit the courtyards and maim a bunch of children? I really don't think so. 24 of those? It boggles the mind. There's either someone asleep at the wheel, someone's nodding off. I really want to know what they have these guys on, because either they can give me a taste or they can stop doing it. Did they bring enough to share with the class? In other words,
yeah. And the consequences of this story are like the justification of the ongoing mass murder of starving people. And there is literally not a single source. I mean, that Anat Schwartz woman posted on Twitter today, and she was like, I'm so grateful for the New York Times for allowing me to give voice to these women. What women? You didn't have a single fucking woman go on record. You can get a single source to confirm any of this to the standards that would meet even the barest journalistic scrutiny. And what happened is, the New York Times basically gave this totally unexperienced not even a reporter, basically an Israeli intelligence official, gave her and her fucking nephew the job of the most important piece of war reporting they could do. And what they found when they went to, they said, confirm all of these lurid accounts that have already been published and since debunked. So they went out to confirm it. And they talk about how they called every single rape crisis center in Israel, every hospital, every morgue, and couldn't get a single confirmation of any sexual assault that took place on that day. Not one. And what did they do? They went to the Israeli military, who directed them to the same sources that had already been debunked, like the Zaka rescue group. And again, this is not. I would just like to I've said it before on this show, but I'll say it again. There is not a single person alive fooled by this who doesn't want to be. Nobody believes this shit. It's just a question of whether you are willing to pretend in public once the New York Times gives you, permission to do so.
Yeah, no, it's gone beyond manufacturing consent. At this point, you're manufacturing a dream world for Zionists to live in, and to cite a paper of record that could, enable their fantasy that, Israel is a righteous state, that Israel is, the only democracy in the Middle East. Israel is the only, feminist state in the Middle East. Completely, sidestepping not only what they're doing to Palestinian women en masse, right?